2 gigabytes. You had to close something. A tab, a game, a photo app. You wanted one more thing open, and the machine made you give something up. That is not a slow processor. That is a full disk. Storage is where your files sleep. Memory is the desk they sit on while you use them, and its size decides what fits. One document, or a game, a video project, and 20 tabs, all breathing at once. Same computer, different amount of room, which makes this the smallest desk still on sale. Windows 11 refuses to install on it. Microsoft's official minimum is twice this much. What still runs here? Cheap phones, smart TVs, the screen in an airplane seat. Nothing about them is broken. Each does one job and never switches away. Ask for a second job, and you need the next step up. 4 gigabytes. This is the official minimum for a modern operating system, and minimum is exactly what it means. The operating system itself takes roughly 2 gigabytes before you open anything. Half the desk is occupied before you sit down. One browser tab can hold a few hundred megabytes, so 10 tabs and a music app use up the rest. When it runs out, the system does not crash. It borrows space from your drive, which is far slower than memory, and survives by getting slower. That is why cheap laptops feel fine for the first minute and painful for the next hour. Close a few tabs and it recovers, but forget, and the machine drags. It is not broken. It is rationing. And for 10 years, the answer to that rationing was one number: 8 gigabytes. For a whole decade, this was simply what a computer came with. It is still enough for real work. Documents, spreadsheets, video calls, and a dozen tabs. What changed is not the number. It is everything around it. Slack, Discord, and Teams are not small programs. Most carry a full browser engine inside, so you can be running 5 browsers while believing you opened 4 apps. A single browser with 15 tabs can take 3 gigabytes by itself. You can feel the ceiling when a second-heavy app loads and everything else pauses to make space. Apple sold this as the starting amount on Macs for years, then quietly doubled it to 16 in late 2024. When the company selling the memory raises its own minimum, that tells you something. Today it is the safe minimum, not the goal. It works until you want 2 heavy things at once, which is what the next number was built for. 16 gigabytes. For most people watching, this is the right answer. Modern games listed as the recommended amount, and Microsoft made it the minimum for its Copilot Plus AI laptops in 2024. Cyberpunk 2077 and Baldur's Gate 3 both want 16, and they use nearly all of it. It handles high game settings, 20 tabs, a video call, and a download at once, without you noticing. Streaming software counts too. Recording gameplay while you play can swallow another 2 gigabytes without warning. Here is a free upgrade nobody uses. 2 sticks of 8 are faster than 1 stick of 16 because they give the memory 2 lanes instead of 1. On a laptop with built-in graphics, that is worth 10 frames per second. Open Task Manager. Click Performance, then Memory. If it says slots used, 1 of 2, you are giving away speed you already paid for. Quick question: how much memory does the device you are watching this on have? Drop it in the comments. And if this is finally making sense, hit the like button. It really helps the channel. 32 gigabytes. This is the level where the computer stops saying no. Adobe recommends it for 4K editing in Premiere Pro. Developers reach the same limit from another direction. Every virtual machine reserves its own block of memory before a single line of code runs. Photographers editing hundreds of raw files land here for the same reason. Music producers stacking dozens of sampled instruments hit the same wall, each track holding its own sounds in memory. Big project files open without that long pause where you wonder if it crashed. What I personally noticed was not more speed. It was a habit disappearing, I stopped closing one thing to open another. And to be honest, for normal use, this money is wasted. The same money spent on a faster drive or a better graphics card does far more. Past this point, the numbers stop being about comfort. 64 gigabytes, now memory stops deciding how pleasant the work is and starts deciding whether it runs. 8K video projects, 3D scenes with millions of surfaces, several virtual machines at once, data files too large for a spreadsheet. And the newest reason, running an AI model on your own computer, where the model alone can need 50 gigabytes to load. Compositors layering effects across long timelines lean on it constantly, since every unsaved change waits in memory. And here is the myth this level destroys. Extra memory does not make a fast thing faster. Going from 16 to 64 will not add frames to your game. It stops a big thing from failing halfway through. You pay real money for space you might need twice a month. Professionals accept that because the alternative is explaining to a client why the render crashed. Above this, nobody is buying comfort. 128 gigabytes, at this size, nobody is buying speed. They are buying room for something that fits nowhere else. Scientific simulations, film effects where one frame weighs more than a whole game, engineering models with millions of points. A single dataset held whole in memory can answer questions that would take hours from a drive. Machines like this use error-correcting memory, which checks itself for tiny mistakes, because one wrong value can destroy a 20-hour render. Your browser will not open faster, your games will not look better, your computer will not start any sooner. But if your work already does not fit, you are not buying speed, you are buying room. And one level above this, the word computer stops being accurate. 256 gigabytes. This is not a bigger version of anything above it. It is a different category of machine. It sits on server platforms, Threadripper, Xeon, ePYC, with 8 memory channels instead of 2 in your laptop, on modules a normal motherboard cannot take. A whole company database lives inside it, so nothing is ever read from a drive. One machine quietly pretends to be 40 computers. And this is why the size matters outside data centers. The largest OpenAI models need hundreds of gigabytes just to hold themselves in memory. Work that needed a rented server 2 years ago now runs under somebody's desk. The memory alone costs more than a complete gaming PC